What up? I'm B and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things true crime and current events. I hope you're having a great Thursday so far and you are ready to read into some news. Before we get started with that, I did just want to let you know, in case you hadn't heard yet, I do have a membership option on my channel now. It is called the Off Limits membership, and if you want to join that crew and hang out with us on exclusive live streams, it's $1.99 per month. We get into a little bit more of the riskier stuff, a little bit of more serious stuff that we can't necessarily talk about in the general public. So if you want to hang out with me inside that group, the join button is down below. But without further ado, let's get into the stories. So our first story is going to be kind of a follow-up on a story that we talked about 2 weeks ago. I'll put a card up here if you haven't watched that video yet, just in case you want to click out of this, go get the first half and then come back. But man accused of killing wife, sending odd texts, allegedly approached teen girls at a mall a week earlier. So basically, the story with this was this woman here, her estranged ex-husband was believed to be sending suspicious text messages from her phone, pretending to be her, saying that she had, like, he sent messages to people in her family saying that she'd been diagnosed with coronavirus and she was being taken to a special CDC center where they were going to quarantine her and she wasn't going to be able to leave. And then she disappeared. Police went to her house and the neighbor was like, "Oh, are you here for the attack that happened on Saturday?" And then cadaver dogs but they were triggered by scents in this guy's car as he was fleeing the state. He made it all the way to Las Cruces, New Mexico. So it looks like a little bit more information has come out about this guy. Riviera Beach police arrested a Florida man after he was spotted approaching teen girls, pacing and sweating a week before he'd be accused of killing his estranged wife. That's him. That's her, obviously. A week before police alleged David Anthony killed his wife, whose body remains missing, he was arrested after allegedly approaching teen girls at a mall, according to a probable cause affidavit obtained by People. Wait, he was arrested for approaching the teen girls, and now he's been arrested again? At about 10:30 p.m. on March 15th, Anthony, 43, was spotted acting erratically at an outdoor plaza in Riviera Beach, Florida. He was allegedly acting suspiciously by approaching young girls, approximately 15 years of age, pacing back and forth and sweating profusely, the report stated. An officer approached Anthony after he noticed black electrical tape placed over the man's license plate to make a 6 look like an 8, the report stated. Anthony allegedly told the officer his stepdaughter likely altered the plate because she enjoyed playing with tape. How old is this daughter? Anthony then allegedly tried to reach into his vehicle for his license, but the officer drew his weapon and ordered him out of the vehicle and onto the ground. When another officer attempted to arrest Anthony, he slammed the door on the officer and struggled to get an unknown object, according to the affidavit. I'm sorry, what? The officer ultimately handcuffed Anthony, who was charged with resisting an officer with violence. Days later, on March 19th, Gretchen Anthony went to work for the last time. After she was reported missing, Jupiter police would learn that she was last seen by her husband on March 21st, according to an arrest report obtained by People. Before her family reported her officially missing on March 26th, friends of Gretchen, 51, told detectives they'd received suspicious text messages from her phone, which informed them that she had an acute case of COVID-19 and was checking into a hospital, but her friends could not find her at any local hospitals, they told police. Investigating the missing woman's home, police found towels with a reddish substance on them that appeared to be blood in the washing machine, as well as a fresh bleach stain on the garage floor, according to the report. On March 31st, about 1,900 miles away in Las Cruces, New Mexico, police arrested David Anthony, according to online court records. He is currently waiting to be extradited to Palm Beach County, where he will be officially charged with second-degree murder and kidnapping, according to the affidavit. Jeez, this dude must have been going through it. I mean, typically when we hear about, like, violent incidents with police and civilians, you have to wonder, like, was the civilian really fighting back, or were the police just being a little bit too aggressive? You know, that's why a lot of them are wearing body cams, because it's a way to keep them accountable and also to keep a record if that person really is being super harmful. Like, it's mutually beneficial because it keeps the power in check on the police officer's side, and it also serves as a vouch for that police officer if they have to, like, use force to take someone down or get a little bit more aggressive. So typically you would wonder, like, was he really resisting arrest? But it sounds like he's potentially to blame for his wife being missing, presumed dead. And so I would err on the side that he probably was being aggressive and resisting arrest and probably did try to slam an officer in his door. So this information is really interesting. I think as time goes on, we'll probably learn a little bit more and more about this man, and hopefully eventually be able to find Gretchen, or at least, learn what happened to her. But it sounds like this wasn't just kind of like a one-off for this dude. He's potentially been predatory and aggressive for a while now, or at least in multiple instances. So I would really love to learn more about this dude, what his life is like, what his attitude is like on a regular basis, and if this was kind of like a sudden switch of him all of a sudden acting kind of erratically and it was in connection with what happened to his wife, or if this is a common pattern. Alright, so our next story is about Elizabeth Holmes. If you don't know who she is a liar. She basically said that she was creating this technology where you could take just like a finger prick, a tiny amount of blood, and learn so many different things about people and do so many different tests and find illnesses and stuff like that. She'd created Theranos, this company to create and support this product, and she had so many different people investing in this medical technology, and it all turned out to be a lie. It was completely fake. So let's see what they have to say about her. Elizabeth Holmes' trial delayed until October due to coronavirus concerns. Elizabeth Holmes pleaded not guilty to charges of wire fraud, and if convicted, could face up to 20 years in prison. The San Jose federal trial of Elizabeth Holmes, the CEO and founder of Silicon Valley healthcare blood testing startup Theranos, has been postponed because of the coronavirus. U.S. District Judge Edward Davila, who is presiding over the case, said the trial will be put on hold until October 27th. "We're in uncharted waters and uncharted territories," he said, CNBC reports. "We need to make sure the environment is safe for all parties, including the jury that's called to the matter." The judge said the trial could be pushed back again depending on the status of the coronavirus threat. In March 2018, Holmes and former Theranos president Ramesh Sunny Balwani were charged with allegedly raising more than $700 million from investors through an elaborate years-long fraud by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Holmes and Theranos settled with the SEC, and Holmes agreed to pay $500,000 and be barred from serving as a director or officer of a public company for 10 years. She has not admitted or denied any wrongdoing with regard to the settlement. 3 months later, the U.S. Attorney's Office in San Francisco charged Holmes and Balwani with 9 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Dude, $500,000 for taking over $700 million in bad faith, essentially, knowing that you were lying about the tech that you were creating, and still taking $700 million. Oof. Prosecutors allege that Holmes and Balwani were involved in a multi-million-dollar scheme to defraud investors, as well as a plan to defraud doctors and patients by claiming the company could provide its clients with cheap, fast, and reliable blood tests and results. The pair pleaded not guilty to charges of wire fraud, and if convicted, could face up to 20 years in prison, according to ABC News. Balwani's trial is set to occur after Holmes is complete, according to Bloomberg. The charges are a far cry from the life Holmes was living just a few years ago. In the fall of 2014, the former Theranos CEO was named one of Forbes' richest women in America, and her startup company was valued at $9 billion. Around 20 months later, Holmes' net worth was estimated at $0. Jeez. And apparently there's an HBO documentary, is what it sounds like. The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley, about the rise and fall of her company Theranos, was released on HBO last March. I'm sure that's definitely an interesting story. an interesting thing to watch. And I feel kind of conflicted on what should happen with this. Like, I feel like she absolutely should pay for what she did. Like, she needs to face some sort of ramification for this and have a consequence. But I don't know that I want her in jail. I mean, she's a scammer, absolutely. And I think that she shouldn't be able to be a CEO, like they said. She shouldn't be able to, like, conduct any sort of business with investors. Like, she shouldn't be able to start her own business. She needs to be very limited because it's clear that she's a good liar and she's good at pretending that, you know, she's created a product and swindling people out of their money, essentially. So there needs to be something that prevents her from doing something like this again. But at the same time, I don't know that I want her in jail. She has an estimated net worth of $0, but she could potentially, depending on who she knows or who she's with, they could pay for her to go to a private prison. And a private prison isn't necessarily going to be the thing that's going to reform you the most. You know, I think you should have to live in the real world and deal with these real world consequences of committing fraud, of telling people you created something, taking their money, taking $700 million in other people's money and using it on a lie. Like, I want you to face a consequence in the real world. I want you to survive in the real world and have to do it honestly and not be able to create a business, start a business, ask for investments. I want to see her work at like a department store and have to actually put in work. But I guess we'll just have to wait until October hits to see if they can start the trial and then see where it goes from there. This next story is a title that really struck me, and I'm very interested to hear what it's about. Kentucky mayor finds mysterious woman hiding and possibly living in the cellar of his house. Mayor Bruce Wilkerson said he came upon the woman after finding some blood on his cellar door. Here's the thing. This is one of my absolute biggest fears, is that someone will be living in my house and I will not know, and they're like watching you from the vents. Like, oh, I just got chills. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, let's see what the story's about. A Kentucky mayor has discovered a mysterious woman hiding in his cellar. Bowling Green Mayor Bruce Wilkerson found the unidentified woman hiding in a crawl space on Wednesday morning after he heard noises and smelled cigarette smoke outside of a property he has been renovating. Wilkerson, who is a former Bowling Green Police Department officer, told the outlet he found traces of blood on the cellar door and a knapsack filled with woman's clothing when he first ventured down into the basement to investigate. However, he said he didn't find the woman during his initial search, and he returned upstairs to continue his renovations. The mayor told the Bowling Green Daily News that he had also called authorities to see if there were reports of a missing woman, but found there were none. Wilkerson only came upon the woman after some of the electrical outlets in the house suddenly lost their power, and he returned to the cellar for a second investigation. According to the local newspaper, he said the woman, who Wilkerson described as in her 20s with long brunette hair, told him she was hiding from someone before running out of the cellar and into the street. Wilkerson said he doesn't know how long the woman had been living in his cellar, but noted to police that she did not steal anything from the property and he has no interest in her arrest. Reflecting on the strange incident, Wilkerson told WKNY-TV that officers were grinning when they took his statement, joking that no matter how they write the report, it's going to say the mayor locked a woman in his house. The Bowling Green Police Department did not immediately respond to people's requests for comment. That's crazy. That's so scary, because it's scary enough to like find somebody's stuff in your house and you're like, oh, someone's been living here, like we gotta call the police and have them, watch our stuff or like take this, whatever. But to go in there and actually see the person who's living in your house, I swear, I'm telling you, I'm not like one to worry about a ton of things. Like, I don't have a ton of fears like that. But the thought of somebody being in my house and me not knowing about it, like, that is something that just gives me the creeps. But I do hope she's okay. I mean, if she really is hiding from somebody, I do feel bad. I hope she gets help and finds resources. I don't know what person she's hiding from or what situation she's trying to get out of. So I do hope she's okay, because if she didn't steal anything and she wasn't really interested in like harming him. It doesn't look like she had malicious intent. She could be somebody who maybe mentally is going through a lot of stuff. Maybe she's paranoid, or maybe she's literally just is hiding from somebody abusive. So I hope that she's okay. I'm glad that nobody was hurt in the situation, but it's definitely very like ooky spooky to think about somebody living in a house. Even if he's not living there and he's just renovating it, it gives me the creeps. Alright, so because two of those stories were a little bit heavier, let's go ahead and end on some celebrity news. Love is Blind helped Giannina prepare for social distancing. I've been through 3 quarantines. Even though this quarantine is the scariest of all 3, going through it with Dame makes it so much sweeter, explained Giannina Gibelli. I saw an article where someone suggested that they weren't still together, or they weren't actually together, because apparently they don't follow each other on Instagram, but I can neither confirm nor deny this. So we'll just have to take their word for it, because this was published on Sunday the 26th. Not only did Love is Blind help Giannina Gibelli find love, but it's also given her the tools to make social distancing a little easier. In a new essay for Playboy, the 27-year-old reality star spoke about how her experience on the Netflix show prepared both her and Damien Powers for their life together amid the coronavirus pandemic. I've been through 3 quarantines now. The first was my experience in the pods. I was in a room by myself, separated from Damien by a wall, and I had nothing to fear or worry about, Gibelli wrote. The second was after filming wrapped, and I had quit my job, and Damien and I were taking a breather. I was bound up in fear. Now Damien and I are sheltering in place together, and it feels like a combination of the previous 2. I fear for our health, the impact on our world, and how we will get out of it, but at the same time, I know now how to use this time for good, she shared. Even though this quarantine is the scariest of all 3, going through it with Dame makes it so much sweeter. Aww. In spite of the uncertainty and fear, being able to spend so much time together has brought the couple closer. We love to feel near to each other, and our favorite time is before we're about to go to sleep. When we're wrapped up in each other, and with the stay-at-home order, we don't have to wait until we're about to go to sleep to experience that. Oh, it's really sweet. Of course, there are still things that get on Gibelli's nerves. Shocker. There are random things he does that bother me. He won't close the cupboard, he leaves the shower curtain open, and they drive me crazy, she wrote, before noting that their good moments far outweigh any momentary irritations. Then he'll take the trash out or fix my curtain rod, and those moments make me forget the little things that may irk me, Gibelli said. I walked into this relationship blindly, but now I see everything so clearly, and one thing is the clearest of all. I love all the ways Damien loves me. I'm surprised they're having a good time living together, because when they lived together in the apartments on the show, it was rough, but supposedly they've learned to communicate better, so that's good. Although Gibelli and Powers had their fair share of disagreements while on the reality show, with Powers even saying "I don't" at the altar, these days the relationship is stronger than ever. While wishing Gibelli a happy birthday earlier this month, Powers reflected on the wild journey they've taken together over the past year and a half. Happy birthday, my love. You are such an incredible and indescribably beautiful woman. That words cannot even touch what I see in you, he wrote, alongside a series of photos and videos of their happiest moments. From our very first picture together, you see here, to a little glimpse of our history and adventures we've been on, Love is Blind is where we started this love story, but it's not where it ends, he continued. I hope to be by your side for many more and look forward to all the adventures we have yet to embark on. I'm so proud of you and the woman you are. I love you always, Giannina Milady Gibelli. Aw, that's so sweet. Aw, look at all the pictures. In her own birthday post, Gibelli noted that while her birthday didn't happen under ideal circumstances, her special day was still filled with love, thanks in large part to Powers. Anyone who knows me knows I'm like this big birthday freak, she wrote. I love to go all out and make you feel super special, and you have every right to spend it however you like. It's dope to see that this year didn't change that. Gibelli added, I wasn't excited about it for a while, but the sweetness that my friends and family poured into me made me so happy. And Dame managed to surprise me like 4 times in quarantine somehow. We celebrated life, and I think we all needed that. It seems like they really are happy now. That's really sweet. As much as it probably sucked for him to say no at the altar, I feel like it probably ended up being for the best. You know, who knows if they would have even had the opportunity to work through their stuff and really be closer than ever if they had gotten married. They were so tense and high strung during the whole experiment that I don't know if they would still be together. So as much as it was probably terrible and heartbreaking and embarrassing to say no, I think it's really sweet that they got back together. But that is all I've got for the news this week. Definitely feel free to leave your opinions and your thoughts in the comments down below. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you have subscribed already, thank you so much. I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.